Andy, my dude, have you heard of the magical website builder known as Squarespace?
Ugh, not another Squarespace ad. I feel like every podcast is sponsored by them.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Yes, okay, it is overhyped, but actually it lives up to the hype. Squarespace is like a website fairy godmother. With a click of a button, your site transforms into a beautiful masterpiece.
A website fairy godmother? That sounds interesting. What makes it so magical?
Well, for starters, those slick templates make anyone look like a professional web designer. Pick one, customize the colors and fonts to match your brand, and voila. Plus, the drag and drop fluid engine is so easy, your grandma could build a site on Squarespace.
Well, she did knit me a lovely scarf last Christmas. Maybe website design is next.
Exactly. And when you're ready to sell your Nana's handmade scarves online, Squarespace has built-in e-commerce. Add a store with one click. Get flexible payment options. Then watch those sales roll in. And when she wants to teach others her steezy scarf skills, Squarespace's new courses feature is just the ticket. Nana can set up her curriculum and enrollments and payments in a snap and become the next e-knitting influencer.
Oh, wow, you really sold me with the grandma angle. Sign me up for that free trial.
Just go to thenextreel.com/Squarespace and transform your site into a beautiful Squarespace masterpiece.
Well, thanks, Pete. Even though it's overhyped, Squarespace actually sounds perfect for Nana's site's needs. Appreciate the warning on the ads, though. I'll brace myself next time I listen to a podcast.
Anytime. Let me know if you need any help getting that site up and running. Andy, can you believe we've almost hit 700 episodes of The Next Reel?
I know, it's crazy. And with all the other episodes in our family of podcasts, we are well over 1,200 episodes of movie conversation. It's really pretty amazing that we've gotten to have these in-depth movie chats every week for over a decade now.
And we couldn't have done it without our loyal community of film fans. Their support over the years has meant so much.
For sure. That reminds me, we should give the merch store a shout out. Buying shirts from thenextreel.com/merch is a great way listeners can continue to support the show. Plus, they get to sport our great designs.
Absolutely. I think sometimes folks forget we have a variety of shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more available. In fact, a great place to start is with a shirt sporting the Next Reel's logo.
We also have that classic Fast Times Spicoli Surf School tee, or the weirdly popular Rusty's European Tour shirt.
The one from National Lampoon's European Vacation. Why is that so popular?
Search me, but we have sold a ridiculous number of those. I guess there are a lot of Rustys taking trips to Europe?
We're always adding new designs based on movies we've covered, like our brand new design for a streetcar named Desire, featuring a streetcar named Desire. So if you want to rep your love of TNR and films, head to thenextreel.com/merch.
Every purchase helps us continue to have these weekly in-depth conversations. So visit thenextreel.com/merch today.
And as always, thanks for listening and being a part of the Next Reel community. We've got lots more great movie chats coming your way. I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
In just a matter of seconds, you're going to hear a classic episode of this show from back in the day when we called ourselves Movies We Like.
It took us a while to settle into the show's format, so you'll notice some differences as you listen to these episodes. For instance, it takes us a bit of time to actually get into the conversation about the movie. Things like that.
But we're still proud of the conversations about the movies themselves, and we think they're worth keeping in the library.
So enjoy these episodes from our back catalog. And you can become part of our Discord community, learn more about the show, and find out how you can become a supporting member at thenextreel.com.
So thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to The Next Reel. We appreciate your time and attention, and we hope you enjoy the show. It's like Sim Farm, you know?
Okay.
Like farm sim farm.
Uh-huh.
So you can pretend like it's got all like John Deere tractor stuff. And so you can get that. That's a game. That's a real thing. Awesome. Which is, I don't know if that's any better than Sim Ant. I had that. That was pretty good, actually. That was pretty good. Just get to the house. Get to the house. So there's but this is Tractor DJ. It's a DJ thing. So you load up it does all the beat analysis of all the songs that you have in your iOS like music library, and then it tells you can load up 2 tracks at a time, and you can fade back and forth, and you can add effects like delay and flange and echo and then it matches the beats. If they're pretty close, it sounds really great, and then you can record out your own mixes. And I have been a DJ like all day, son, all day.
That's awesome.
And I'm like DJing the worst songs because my library doesn't have a lot of kind of tracks to it, and I need more of those. Those
right.
Like I don't know where the kids go to do stuff.
You take that one and run with it.
I got it. I'm derailed. Let's talk about you now. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been busy. Yeah, busy week.
It has been. It's been a busy week. Are you feeling strong?
I am feeling.
Let's talk about more importantly. Are you feeling healthy?
I am. Yes, I feel healthy, and I feel good. I feel great. I feel wonderful. Little steps.
In case I don't see ya.
Little steps out of the
Baby
door.
Baby steps out of the door. Baby steps to the elevator. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So
you're all good. Everything's peachy, right?
Oh yeah. No, everything's feeling strong.
Good.
I like being strong. It feels good. I need to get back to the gym. That's the thing I haven't quite done yet.
I've started going to the gym.
Have you really? Congratulations. Yeah. Are you losing some weight already? Have you shed a few pounds?
I am. If I could manage to not enjoy food so much, I would probably shed more pounds.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Portion control.
I know.
Can we? You should tell people about us.
So welcome to the next reel, everybody out there in podcast land. We like to talk about movies, and not only do we like to talk about movies, we like to talk about it from first base all the way to home plate. We cover the gamut of everything in a movie. We talk about one movie each week, and really leave nothing off. So make sure you watch the movie before we start talking about it. And we talk about a lot of old movies, so we figured that it's okay to spoil those. And so, but definitely enjoy listening in. You can find us on our website at thenextreel.com, and you can listen to the show there. You can find us on iTunes and subscribe there. And if you do head over to iTunes, it'd be great if you could throw us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. It does help people find us, and we're always looking to get some new listeners. You can also find us over on Facebook, facebook.com/thenextreel. If you want to receive updates, you can click like, and you'll be getting all those updates from us. You can also leave us a message at 657-201-7335. That's 657-201-REAL. Leave us a message, and you know what? You just might hear yourself on the air. And always feel free to shoot us an email at show@thenextreel.com. And you can find us over on Twitter at thenextreel.
And you can listen live.
And that's right.
We're broadcasting live right now. And if you go to thenextreel.com/live, and if you can figure out the cockamamie thing I have posted up there, good luck and Godspeed, people. You can listen live if you can figure it out. We'll make that cleaner eventually. Still testing.
It's a challenge. It's a test.
It is. It's a test. It's a big test. All right.
So
let's talk trailers.
I saw a wonderfully funny trailer this week called "It's a Disaster."
Priceless.
It is priceless. The trailer is not a disaster, even if the movie is. It is an absolutely hilarious, story about 4 couples who meet for Sunday brunch, only to discover that they are stuck in a house together as the world may be about to end. It has a very uncomfortable look as these people are dealing with hanging out with each other. There are 4 couples who, there's issues,
and we get the issues, and people are dealing with issues, and then they find out that the world may be about to end.
I love this trailer. I found myself like, it's just great. And I'm most excited about this trailer because of the fantastic David Cross.
Yes.
Who is Tobias Funke from Arrested Development. He's a never nude. And he's got he's Crane in Kung Fu Panda. He's definitely has some.
He was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He was in Alvin and the Chipmunks, Chipwrecked. His
all of
Call
them,
to Fame.
actually.
Yes, all of them.
Right.
I haven't seen them all. I don't celebrate the entire catalog, but close enough. Anyway, he is also the voice of Minion in Megamind.
That's right.
But so he's got all these things. But this is like a David Cross film. Like he's just like a big part where you get to see him as a character actor on the big screen, and I love that. He is hysterically funny, and I can't wait to see this film.
Yeah, I can't either. Todd Berger is directing it. It looks like he may have run into David Cross from. It looks like he directed the short Kung Fu Panda episode "Secrets of the Masters," which I believe was something that actually no, he acted in it. Excuse me. He played Rabbit and the Pig Server, so he may have met him in the world of the panda.
You know what this movie reminds me of? I think you're going to hate me for this. It reminds me of The Last Supper. Remember that?
As in the biblical.
The Ron Eldard. It was the Stacy Title directed. Ron Eldard and Cameron Diaz and Annabeth Gish. And,
it doesn't remind me of that at all. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, it reminds me of that. Except for more crazy. It's got more crazy.
Definitely has crazy. It reminds me of a was that Luis Buñuel film? Is it The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, or one of those films? It might be The Exterminating Angel. One of those where a group of guests go to a house. Yeah, it's The Exterminating Angel. The guests at an upper class dinner party find themselves unable to leave. And in that film, it's they just are unable to leave because they're just unable to. They can't ever seem to quite make it to the door, and it just goes on and on and on. And you watch this, all of the upper class rules and everything all just kind of crumble. It does kind of have that sense of these four couples struggling with the awkward conversations at this brunch. Only to realize once they've had these conversations, now they can't actually leave and they have to just stay with each other. So it looks pretty fun.
Yeah, fantastic. Makes me, you know what? You said Luis Buñuel. You know, of course, what I'm thinking about.
I don't. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about Debaser.
Which is? Debaser.
Debaser is a song by the Pixies.
Okay.
Right? Do you know it?
I don't know it.
Got me a movie I want you to know. Slicing up eyeballs I want you to... You got it yet?
Okay.
But I am un chien Andalusia. Wanna grow. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. Luis Buñuel.
That's Buñuel. That's right. Very surreal guy. I don't know that song. I'm going to have to listen to more.
You
Pixies.
should totally listen to that song. It's fantastic. I love the Pixies. People just learned something about me right now, just this second. I'm a big Pixies fan. Let's see. Okay, so I got a trailer.
That's right. What's yours?
We've already sort of talked about this movie, and it's out in Italy. It opened in December in Italy, and I'm very frustrated that it's not here yet. It's The Company You Keep, Robert Redford's new film, written by Lem Dobbs. Robert Redford directs and stars with Shia LaBeouf, LeFleur. And I mean, the cast is stunning in this film. This is what Robert Redford gets, right? This is because he's epic. And so we've got Shia LaBeouf, who is really lucky to be in this film.
Yeah.
With some of these people, Julie Christie, Sam Elliott, Jackie Evancho, Brendan Gleeson, the fantastic Terrence Howard, Anna Kendrick. Totally loving Anna Kendrick. She's adorable. And Nick Nolte, Chris Cooper, Susan Sarandon, and Stanley Tucci.
And did you say Britt Marling?
I did. I skipped. I think I skipped Britt Marling. So yeah, Britt Marling. I mean, this cast is crazy stacked in favor of this film being awesome. So I'm very excited about it. Not only that, it was based on the novel by Neil Gordon, written by or adapted by Lem Dobbs. And we know and love Lem Dobbs from a number of films, most prominent for me, Dark City.
Yeah, definitely.
Which was a fantastic film.
Yeah.
So this is one of those Prometheus effect films. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm hoping it will live up to it. It's Redford hasn't really hit it out of the park in a while with his films that his directorial efforts. What was the last one he did? It was the Lincoln film, right? It was what was that called? About kind of like the trial after Lincoln.
As a director,
The Conspirator, that came out a couple years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Lions for Lambs
before that, right?
Legend of Bagger Vance. I think that one had it kind of was okay. But look at what he did before that. Ordinary People, Milagro Beanfield War, River Runs Through It, Quiz Show, Horse Whisperer, then Bagger Vance. So kind of the 80s to 2000 were fantastic for him, and then he became Lions for Lambs and The Conspirator, the sort of movement films, right? And
kind of lost some momentum.
He's really kind of pushing his political spins on things now, it seems. So I'm hoping The Company You Keep doesn't just turn into some sort of political spin that he's trying to put onto the story, but I hope it really is just a great story.
Well, I think it's going to be hard to do that because it is a political film. It's about the Weather Underground, decades later, and so it's a political film, and it's a film about prosecution, sort of American prosecution and lives that get turned upside down. But like you said, I hope this remains a character film. And not so much a political film.
Absolutely.
Still loving Robert Redford. Very, very excited for this film. New trailer hit this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hear.
That's all I've got.
Alrighty.
All right. So what are we going to talk about tonight? We got a new series, right?
That's right. We finished up our John Huston series, and now we're going to do a wee little series. We're going to just do a short, but it's really a continuation of a series we did last year, right?
Yeah. No, we do. It's about this time of year.
Mm-hmm. Spring training's just getting underway.
Yeah.
It's time for some baseball.
I love it. So what were the films we did last year for baseball? We did The Natural.
We did 2 Kevin Costner films that you really loved.
I like to call that, it was a mini series that I call the 2x2x4 series. Wow. Do you know, a year hasn't softened my opinion of Kevin Costner's acting?
I was thinking that there might be a little softening going on, but
no, sir.
No, you just really didn't dig it. Well, what are you gonna do? And then, so it's Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, and Major League.
Great baseball films of their own right, but I'm going to tell you, to me, they're just movies. Right. The Natural actually gets me in that sort of emotional spot. But, speaking of our man Redford, but this movie, Moneyball, I was obsessed with baseball this movie gets me really jazzed about it. I don't know what it is. This is of the set. I can't believe we didn't do Moneyball last year.
It was 80s baseball in last.
Oh, yeah. So we have standards. I love this movie. It is fallen in line with, to me, for me, it's like up there with Ronin as the movie I can put on anytime. It's just, I love it. Am I crazy?
It's a fantastic film. I don't think I love it quite as much as you love it, but it's definitely up in my top films. I think it was a stellar film, told well, made well, written well, performed well, a fascinating story, and I think they found the right way to tell it, and it really is an amazing feat.
An amazing feat. So the movie itself, directed by Bennett Miller, who doesn't have much under his belt.
No, he did do Capote a few years before this, and did
which I thought was outstanding.
Yeah, and I think that's the film that really kind of put him on the map. He really it was a great film for him to make, and he is a person who grew up with Philip Seymour Hoffman. They've known each other since they were kids, and along with Dan Futterman, who's a writer, and they all three of them have kind of grown. And I'd like to say that Bennett Miller was able to essentially kind of come into his own. It took a little longer than Philip Seymour Hoffman, but he really did find his way and started making some great films. He's done some good stuff. So I quite enjoy his work.
Did you see The Cruise?
I didn't see The Cruise, and I don't know much about it.
Didn't this was on the New York City bus tour guide Speed. Just look, this Timothy Speed Levitch.
Yeah, it's the documentary, right?
Yeah, Timothy, and then Speed Levitch explains it all. And is this the thing? Isn't there a TV show on like A&E or something about this guy now?
There's the does it have Speed in it? It does, doesn't it?
Oh man, yeah. The movie,
Up to Speed.
Up to Speed.
Yep.
Right. And so you can learn more about that at here it is, Speed Levitch Online. And so I think that's the documentary that sort of launched this guy. I haven't actually seen any of the shows, but the commercials look funny.
Yeah, and there's full episodes of it online you can watch. So
have you ever watched any of it?
I haven't. I watched the trailer. It's pretty wacky, and it definitely, I think, would be a very enjoyable watch.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, this book or this movie directed by Bennett Miller, man, I think this guy's going to end up making some just classic films. I think we're going to be talking about this and Capote in 20 years.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So it was written by Steve Zalian and Aaron Sorkin, adapted from Michael Lewis's book, Moneyball, 2003. Have you read this book?
I have not read the book. It's one of those books that I definitely want to kind of get in my queue and read one of these days. I just there's a lot in front of it.
There, the thing about the book is that, and this is you said it, that it's not a book that you read and think, wow, this should be a movie.
Right.
Right. It's a book that really sort of uncovers, the statistics behind this sort of new way of thinking about stacking a team, and it's I think Michael Lewis's writing is fantastic. He's got some his books, The New Thing, I think was the first book I read of his, which was great. Liar's Poker, The Big Short, and then Moneyball, The Art of Winning an Unfair Game. It's not a book that you would intuitively say, gosh, I need to see this on the big screen. And so I think the way they tackled this film, to really dig into the behind the scenes story and to really capture the drama that goes on every time Billy Beane turns the TV off, it just weaves a way into my heart. I'm very touched by how they approach this film.
Well, it's fascinating because the nature of Moneyball, this science that they came up with, to kind of, this sabermetrics is another term for it. The way that they use the statistics, the statistic of getting to base, basically, right?
Right.
And using that and nothing else to determine how to build your team. it was a fascinating look, and really kind of a heretical look in the world of baseball, as really far as how to make a team work and what was really good about baseball. And it turned a lot of heads. It made a lot of people angry. It really created a lot of contention. And also just a lot of people kind of shaking their heads, thinking that this Billy Beane had essentially lost it and was going to be fired as soon as this whole thing was over, his little experiment. But it became something that really almost set a new standard in the world of baseball once people realized that there's something to the statistics. And listening to them talk about baseball, I was listening to Billy Beane on the Blu-ray, talking about baseball and how, yes, it's changed baseball, and probably every team is using a form of it now, but they've all kind of gone a step farther, and in realizing how important these statistics can be, and essentially they're all coming up with their own little tweaks to the system to come up with their own thing that they think, okay, well, this is our system and it's going to work. And they all have their own little game now. But essentially, it's become kind of a standard, and it's really interesting. And the other thing I find interesting about it is how just going by the system alone, it almost can't work. And that's what I really like about the film, how it explores how amazing it can work. You see this 20 game winning streak where they have, which is just unprecedented. But then you also have this amazing hit by Hatteberg at the end, which is completely unexpected. And that is, as Billy says, you gotta love baseball, or whatever he says at the end. It's like unexpected things happen, and it's those magic moments that you can't predict. And you've got to find a way to blend those two together. And that really is what makes baseball something that's special.
Well, I think it is. I think there's another piece, earlier in the film as we that really addresses this issue of trust and fidelity, right, and faith in those who are supposed to know better. They make a big deal about about these old guys, the scouts, and the role that they play in building a team, that they are the ones who sort of hold the overall kind of the keys to the castle in terms of building a star team.
I think they're the same guys who run the Oscars.
Yeah. Speaking of heretical, you get to go to dark place for that.
A bunch of old white guys.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so we get to see them challenged by upstart statistician and economist Peter Brand, Jonah Hill's character, and Billy Beane, who has given over his faith to this new way of looking at the business of baseball. And I think the collective challenge that comes from that room is so powerful to me, the just sort of seething anger that grows over the course of the first half of the film, and the relationship with, of course, Capote. The coach. The coach, Philip Seymour Hoffman. The relationship with Philip Seymour Hoffman, who feels like he has full run of the team, and he's going to do with the team what he sees fit, and does not trust the system. And that conflict, I think, that underlying conflict is almost sort of more palpable, more interesting to watch, I think, than the game on the field. And I think that balance is such a new way of looking at baseball movies that I found it really compelling.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating, and like you said, it's based on a nonfiction book, and finding a way to adapt that. I mean, it took a long time. This book was written in, I believe, 2003.
Yes.
Columbia bought the rights to it, and they had Stan Chervin come on to adapt it. He adapted it. He did a few initial drafts of the script. Very different from what you see as the final film. I mean, I was just looking at the script, and it ends. I mean, the film as it is right now ends. It's a pretty heartbreaking ending. He's made, they've gotten close. And then he's offered this amazing job in Boston. He turns it down because he doesn't want to make any decisions on money. And then you see him driving away, listening to his daughter singing this song on a CD she made for him, and he's essentially kind of like breaking down and having a really hard time with his decisions and just everything, right?
Right.
In the first script that, or the first, or last script that Stan Chervin actually wrote, that I have a version here where it ends at the end of the game, and you see everybody come. Billy's like, I finally found where I belong, because he stays, and all of the team come around him. It says, one by one, every A's player in the clubhouse walks up to Billy. They shake his hand, hug him, or slap him on the back. Hold on, Billy, surrounded, embraced, engulfed by his team. It's a much different look at the story, and you can see how many different directions they could have gone to write this story, coming from a completely just a nonfiction book about it. And this, Brad Pitt signed on, and after he did, Stan Chervin dropped out. Steve Zalen came on to work on it.
And note, Soderbergh was supposed to direct this.
David Frankel was going to direct it, and then he dropped out, and Soderbergh came on. And he and Brad Pitt have worked together in the past, and so I think there was some connection there. And Soderbergh really, he has a quote here. I think we have as far as like how you make a book about statistics entertaining. He said, I think we have a way in making it visual and making it funny. I want it to be really funny and entertaining, and I want you to not realize how much information is being thrown at you because you're having fun. We found a couple of ideas on how to bust the form a bit in order to take all that information to reach you in a way that's a little oblique. And I think they kind of liked that, but as it continued to develop, I think they realized that it was not going to work. And this was a big thing, because I remember they were actually going to shoot some of this here in Phoenix. And I remember that they had started scouting and all that. And a couple days before they were going to start filming, the head of Sony decided that the direction that Soderbergh was taking this film was not the direction they wanted to go. And just a couple days while they're in pre-production, they put the film on hold. And it was because it was just kind of a non-traditional sports movie. They just weren't really thinking it was going to work. And that's when they basically got rid of Soderbergh and brought Bennett Miller on to replace it, and brought Aaron Sorkin on to work on the script. So it was a long, hard road to get to the film that they did. But when you're making a film based on a nonfiction book about baseball statistics,
yeah,
you can see why it would be a challenge. And I think they brought the right people on. Zalen and who did I just say? And
Sorkin,
thank you. I completely spaced it. Did an amazing job, not necessarily working together, but Sorkin did a great job of working on Zalen's script and really bringing out all the best in the comedy, but also the pathos. And it really is an amazing story about this man who is struggling to buck the system because he's in an unfair position.
Right.
He's in a very frustrating position as one of the lowest funded baseball teams out there. They had something like $35 million or somewhere in the $40 million range for their budget, fighting like the Yankees that had $120 million.
Yeah.
You can see why he was trying to buck the system and find a new way to approach things.
That's the great line, Billy Beane's great line. There are rich teams, and then there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us. And I think that sentiment really highlights kind of where he feels like he is, at the very bottom of the barrel, and yet. Doesn't it? I find it so interesting that there's such a sense of resignation in that. Everybody around him has already accepted the reality that their team is below 50 feet of crap. But as long as people keep coming to buy hot dogs and see the games, that's going to be okay. Their place is going to be here in this game. It's not going to be a winning team, and we're just going to do the best we can with what we got. And Billy Beane is the one who sort of carries a torch for, we can do something different and we can be better. And that's a great journey.
It is. It really is. It's a fascinating journey, and it's interesting that that came off of a year right before where they did really well. They had a great year, but because they didn't have the money, they couldn't keep the players who were really excelling.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. So we like this movie. Let's talk about Jonah Hill. Can we talk about Jonah Hill?
Yeah, I never liked Jonah Hill. I never liked Jonah Hill.
Why you gotta hate?
Until this movie. I was building to that.
Oh, all right.
I was building. I never connected with him. He's one of those actors who had a hard time kind of connecting with.
You love 21 Jump Street.
I said until this movie, which came out.
Okay, but what about Superbad? You didn't like Superbad?
I really wasn't into Superbad.
I loved Superbad. I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it. I mean, he had been in things that I'm just looking through the list here. There's not a lot of films. I liked him in 40-Year-Old Virgin in his bit part.
Yep.
I liked that. I really wasn't a fan of Knocked Up, so I didn't like that. Superbad, I didn't really like that. Horton Hears a Who, I liked that, but he's a little animated thing. And gosh, I'm just looking through his list. And then all of a sudden,
it's like you don't like Seth Rogen either, I'll bet.
No.
It's all those Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen kind of.
I don't like him. So,
don't answer so quickly.
But then 2010 came along. Okay, I take it back. So Cyrus, I really liked Cyrus.
Night at the Museum.
I really liked Cyrus. Cyrus was a fantastic film. And How to Train Your Dragon, even though I can't attribute any quality of him to any of these animated movies he was in.
Yeah.
And then Moneyball, which completely floored me. I never saw that coming out of him.
Yeah. Dude can act.
Yeah, it really was a revelation to see him in a role like that, where he was so awkward, smart, interested and fascinated by baseball, and but he was in his element, even though he was always awkward around everything else anywhere. And I really enjoyed him in the film. And I am so glad he did it, because I don't know if I would have gone to see 21 Jump Street otherwise. And I would have been so sad to have missed that.
I actually still haven't seen that. That's on my list.
You need to watch it.
You
just need to watch it. You should stop right now. Go watch it.
Okay, and we'll come back. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the live stream.
Our live audience can listen to you watch it.
I thought his portrayal as Peter Brand, like you said, I mean, it was just, it was surprising. It was, I mean, talk about out of left field, so to speak. It was so restrained.
Yeah.
There was a restraint that I had never really sort of felt he was capable of as an actor. I mean, this was a new side of Jonah Hill, and I love his comedy stuff. I think it's fantastic, but I am vastly, far and away, more interested in what comes next for him as a dramatic actor. He's got, in terms of sort of best new talent, he's got a whole lot of stuff coming up. Yeah, he's in Django Unchained.
Yeah, and one of my least favorite parts of that film.
Baghead number 2.
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street, Good Time Gang, 21 Jump Street 2, A True Story, and rumored Zoolander 2.
Would it be 22 Jump Street?
No, 42. It's 42 Jump Street. 42 Leap Avenue.
That's right.
So I think he's and I also think that Brad Pitt was I thought he was a shoe-in for Best Actor. And yet I still think Jonah Hill was probably the strongest part of this film.
Jonah Hill really, really was great, and he definitely, I was really surprised to say it, but yeah, he definitely deserved an Academy Award nomination for it.
Yeah.
He was a revelation, and I really, really enjoyed him in the film. He lost to Christopher Plummer, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Christopher Plummer was great. And
Yeah.
Brad Pitt lost to Jean Dujardin in The Artist, and as much as I enjoyed that, I feel like honestly I was pretty happy with all of the actors that year, and I would have been happy with any of them. I think they were all so good.
Yes.
That's Brad Pitt, Gary Oldman in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, George Clooney in The Descendants, and Demian Bashir in A Better Life.
No, wait a minute. Who won for best actor over Pitt? For The Artist. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I enjoyed The Artist, but it's not a movie I'm going to put on again.
Yeah. Did you know that Jonah Hill is the son of a tour accountant for Guns N' Roses?
I did know that. I did not know that before this afternoon.
That's right.
That is great.
Yep.
Great trivia. Well done. Well done. Movie did pretty darn well.
Yeah, it did. It cost $50 million, and then with
25 million of that was before they even started shooting, just trying to figure out who the heck's going to be in it.
That's right. A lot of development on this, and then the print and advertising budget was 80 or another 35. So total budget $85 million. Domestically, it grossed $75 million, but then worldwide, it made its money back elsewhere. A total worldwide gross was about $111 million. So yeah, it did pretty well for itself. And obviously, it got a number of other Oscar nominations, right?
Yes.
Jonah Hill, like we said, and Brad Pitt both were nominated for their performances. It was also nominated for Best Picture, which it certainly deserved that nomination. And it was nominated for, Best
Adapted Screenplay.
Best Adapted Screenplay, right, by Sorkin and Zalian with Stan Chervin's story. Best Sound Mixing, which is great. And Best Film Editing by Christopher Tellefson. So, I was a little disappointed to see that it was not nominated for Best Cinematography, because I thought Wally Pfister's cinematography in this, I don't know if I just didn't notice it before, but I could not get over how gorgeous it was. I mean, constantly, just the composition of the shots, everything going on was just so beautiful. It was a beautifully, beautifully shot baseball film.
You know what I think is so interesting about that? Insofar as this film is such a celebration of, the statistics, kind of the behind the scenes stuff, the cinematography really celebrates in that same vein the mechanics of the facilities, right? I mean, I feel like at the end of this film, I belong in those dirty, painted cinder block hallways, and that crowded room with the whiteboard, where all the scouts sit. And I just felt very much at home under the stadium. Which I thought that's a difficult thing to do. It's a difficult thing to capture that experience and to make it appealing. And I think he really did that. Insofar as the beautiful green fields and the gorgeous sort of, how hard is it to turn your camera on a beautiful baseball stadium and not make it look great? I think really where he shines is in the little movements, and the behind the scenes stuff. He originally was not slated to do the cinematography on this film. It was originally Adam Kimmel, who had already started. Adam did the cinematography for Capote and has been around for a long, long time, but was arrested for sexual assault and weapons and explosive charges, possession charges. And so he was replaced by Wally Pfister at the last minute.
That's usually not a good thing to do.
No, maybe any one of those things, but all three.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, not even one of those things. That was a joke. Not even one.
Yeah, but I did like what Wally Pfister did, and it's interesting you brought up the kind of that real world feel. That's something I catches my eye every time I watch the film, is when Billy is driving around, we're always kind of focusing on all of the industrial cranes and everything that's kind of out the window of his car, which is the area, I guess, where their stadium must be. but it's just there's something about that feels like we're always kind of seeing kind of the gritty behind the scenes of how things work, right?
Yes.
And I found that a really interesting element that Pfister and Bennett Miller incorporated into the film, even at the end when he's driving away, and you keep kind of focusing on these cranes in the background, just like how things are built, but there's so much more to just how things are built and this battle between the two. And I just really found that an interesting element to the cinematography.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And by the same token, when you're looking at sort of that industrial area, it makes it feel lush, like Billy Beane's place in the car in that space so belongs to the overall landscape. Like they're inseparable.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's definitely a gift of this film.
Yeah. I worked with Wally Pfister.
No, you didn't. You're making that up.
I worked with him on a commercial, a series of commercials that he did. He came and shot in Arizona, and I worked on it. It was an insurance company commercial, and instead of talking about young people and how they would use or why their insurance is important, it was a series of commercials that he did celebrating people who were over 100 years old and why insurance had been important so long in their lives. And it was a really fascinating series of commercials that he ended up directing. Very beautiful. And actually, it was really fun talking to the 100-year-old guy that we were interviewing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So Wally Pfister, he was a very nice guy and made some great commercials.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And there you go. And I worked with someone else in this film.
Do tell. Hey, you're on a roll.
Chris Pratt.
Oh, okay.
Who we, I don't know if we talked about him, but
no, not yet.
We did it in our Zero Dark 30 episode.
Oh, well, of course, that's when we would have talked about him.
That's right. But yeah, he was in a film that I worked on. I can't say it was a good film, but Take Me Home Tonight, the Topher Grace film that we actually worked on it in 2007. And it was released in 2011, the same year as Moneyball. Really bad film, and I don't recommend people watch it. and he was quite the twit. He was a young twit, and so I'm glad to see that he's grown into somebody more than a twit.
What? So you mean in real life he was a twit? You're actually
in real life he was a twit.
But you think now that he's better, he's healed, recovered.
I have to think so because he's making a lot of good decisions now, and he's in a lot of great things, and and he's married to the lovely Anna Faris, who he met on Take Me Home Tonight.
They did the proposition segment in movie 43.
There you go. We almost talked about that one.
He played Scott Hatteberg in this movie, and I think you're right. I mean, I think he did a great job in this film. One of the interesting things, you talk about the baseball players in this film. They were originally, when it was a Soderbergh property, all the baseball players were going to be played by the baseball players.
Mm-hmm.
And when Bennett comes on, they change their mind.
Yeah,
and he ended up hiring actors.
Well, and
there are still a lot of self performances in this film. A lot of the scouts, but most of the baseball players are actors.
And a lot of them are like former baseball players. And here's another interesting little anecdote, because I'm just full of them right now. My wife and I went and saw this opening night, and up here in Surprise, Arizona. And we watched the film, and we really love the film. And as we're leaving, there's a mob at the exit, and we can't get out. And we're like, what is going on? We're trying to get out. We kind of weasel our way around this crowd, and they're all around this guy who's talking. And we kind of, because we have to go so slowly to get through the crowd, we're hearing what he's saying. He was in the film. He was one of the baseball players. And he's like a local coach here at one of the schools in Surprise. His name's Derrin Ebert. He played Mike Magnanti. He's the one who wears the leg braces and gets fired or gets let go.
How cool is that?
I know. And I was
Look
just
at
like,
you.
oh, look at that. He coaches like Little League out here or something. So
That's,
there's a
there you go. You've got,
strange little tale.
you're 3 for 3.
I tell you. Yeah. Okay,
All right. So what else do we need to talk about with this movie?
Robin Wright is as lovely as ever. We talked about House of Cards last week.
Yeah, I was going to say we
didn't
talk about that last week.
We didn't talk about her, right? But yeah,
she's pretty grim.
She is. Her part's a bit part in this. It's interesting little tie-in with Steven Zalian, both of whom also worked with Fincher on Girl with the Dragon Tattoo this year.
Right.
So.
She did a great. I think she's beautiful in this film, and I was thinking more House of Cards. How much would you love to be married to her in that movie?
I'm afraid of her.
I'm terrified of her. She's scary.
Oh my goodness.
Robin Wright. So let's see. Robin Wright. We talked a little bit about Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Who's great in this? Obviously, worked with Bennett Miller before.
So good.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt, Stephen Bishop, Reed Diamond as Mark Shapiro. He's always fun to watch and really perfectly cast. It's like he is that guy. He is a baseball GM.
Well, this is one of those films where everybody is so perfectly cast that, and I speaking of my lack of baseball knowledge, I'm like, wow, they got like everybody to play themselves. They cast it so well. I totally bought into everybody as a real person.
This could have been a documentary. I feel exactly.
I thought
the
it
same
was
way.
a documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see. So many of them I don't know. Once you get down below kind of the A-list folks, there's so many of these people I don't know, but everybody really makes a great film here. So we talked about the budget. We need to rank this puppy. Do you have other stuff to talk about before we jump in?
While I get this ready, just one last little thing. Spike Jonze makes a little brief uncredited cameo in this.
Doing what? Did I miss it?
He is Robin Wright's new husband.
Oh, of course.
He's Alain.
Alain.
Right.
Of course.
Yep.
That's great. I had not made that connection at all. He's not a guy that looks like a Spike Jonze. So I never, I see him and I think, gosh, he's anonymous.
He looks so unassuming.
Yes. Yeah.
He really is. All right, let's rank it.
Do it.
Moneyball or The Dark Knight Rises?
Moneyball.
Totally. The Maltese Falcon.
Moneyball.
All the President's Men.
Now
we're getting into the tricky ones.
Yeah, that's tricky. I'm going to say All the President's Men.
I am too. I totally am too. Moneyball or The French Connection?
French Connection.
Interesting. I was going to say...
Is it? Why? Sell me.
Again, it's just the amazing characters of this story and this guy's struggle to battle, the rigid 100-year-old traditions of baseball and actually do something different.
I mean, I like it, but there is something about the grit of Friedkin's French Connection and of Please, Roy Scheider.
All right. You had me at Roy Scheider. Our 70s fave.
There's a lot of love there. A lot.
There is.
All
really.
right.
Okay, here we go. Moneyball or Hot Fuzz?
Moneyball.
Oh, man.
You were going to go Hot Fuzz?
I totally. This is my Ronin.
Wow.
This is the film that I can put in all the time.
It's the gargoyle, man, when the head pops. That's epic. I could give you that, I guess. It's just not Hot Fuzz is not the movie of substance that Moneyball is.
It's not. You're right. If we're voting on substance, it's definitely Moneyball. So, all right. I'll give you Moneyball.
Okay.
Because you're right. It is definitely more substantial. Moneyball or When Harry Met Sally?
Moneyball.
Oh, see, I'm totally When Harry Met Sally. That one, just the Nora Ephron dialogue in that one Wins me over every time.
I know, and I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a great film. I'm saying I'm a bit fatigued on it. I compare it to something like Moneyball, and
you know what? I will give you Moneyball because of the Billy Crystal movie that he just had come out this past Christmas. Whatever that is, that abysmal schlock that he was just in.
So you're giving that to me based on a movie that's totally unrelated.
I am, only because it sours me with Billy Crystal a little bit.
Parental guidance.
Thank you. Sometimes you see an actor do something that's just so bad, and it's just like,
sours you and everything. For me, that was Analyze This.
Oh, see, I liked Analyze This. Now, Analyze That, no.
Okay, so what's next?
That was it. It's number 14.
So where are we? Number 14.
Yeah, and 14 out of 74.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's that
feels pretty good.
Yeah.
It feels like it's in about the right place. I like how this is going.
Mm-hmm.
This was a new thing, this flick chart thing. I like how this is going. Did we tell people where to find our flick chart?
They can go to, flickchart.com/thenextreel.
I'm pretty sure that works, right?
I'm finding out right now. I think it does work. It
we should know this.
Absolutely works.
It does. Totally works.
Yep.
Excellent. So check us out, flickchart.com/thenextreel, and you can see where we've ranked all of our films that we've talked about so far.
Yes.
Anything else we've got to chat about?
I think we've hit absolutely everything.
I do too. I feel good. Nice chatting with you, Andrew.
Definitely.
What are we doing next week? What's our? This is another baseball thing.
It is another baseball thing. We're taking. It's not a big baseball series. I think we have a baseball series of 2 this time. Next week we're going to do The Sandlot.
The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm looking forward to that one. That's one I only just discovered last year.
Yeah, and it's one that totally belongs in the collection. Yeah. I like these. Because I think now this baseball series is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm done talking to you. So I'm gonna sign off the live stream, and I'm gonna wish you a good night, Andy.
Okay, man.
I'm gonna tuck you in tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Only if you go out singing "I'm Just a Little Bit Stuck in the Middle" by Lenka.
I was gonna sing "Hey Ya" by Outkast.
Wow.
Nothing. All right.
The soothing tones.
The soothing tones of
Outkast.
The soothing tones of Outkast. The dulcet tones. Followed up a little Black Eyed Peas. I can totally rock the Black Eyed Peas.
I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a good night. I'm going to sleep well.
Good night, Andy.
Good night, Pete.
We wanted to take a moment to thank you for your continued support over the years. It's hard to believe that we've been having weekly, in-depth discussions about movies since 2011.
That's right, 12 years and counting. Producing this show is a labor of love for us, but it does require a lot of time and effort each week.
If you enjoy our podcast and would love to help keep it going, there are some easy ways you can show your support. One is by using our Originals page to shop for the original source material that movies we've discussed were based on.
That's right. In Season 1 alone, we covered 13 films adapted from books or plays, from Charlie Kaufman's adaptation to David Fincher adaptations like Fight Club.
In Season 2, we covered even more, like Powell and Pressburger's The Red Shoes and The African Queen from our series about legendary cinematographer Jack Cardiff.
We can't forget about the 4 Jason Bourne movies we talked about. Love those movies. Well, the original trilogy, at least.
For our Richard D. Zanuck series, we did Jaws, Rush, Big Fish, and more. And for our horror series, we talked about John Carpenter's The Thing, which was adapted from Who Goes There?
We did our first great car chase series with movies like Bullet, The French Connection, and Drive. And for the holidays, we did Preston Sturgis's Christmas in July.
We had a great John Huston series with adaptations like The Maltese Falcon and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
And for our baseball series, Moneyball with Brad Pitt. Have I told you lately how much I love that movie?
Yeah, I think you have. Plus our Magician series and Heist film series had adaptations as well.
tons of page-to-screen gems. Listeners can find the details and links to the original material at thenextreel.com/originals. Every book, play, or movie you buy through our links helps support the show, and it's no extra cost to you.
So dive in and get your next read today. thenextreel.com/originals has all the films adapted from other sources that not only we have covered, but all of the shows on the Next Reel family of podcasts. Check it out and get reading.
Support the show and build your reading list. It's a win-win. Head to thenextreel.com/originals.